Life 101, Part 4. Even though your spirit has communicated with you since birth, you have totally misunderstood the communication as well as the message. Your spirit guides you through your emotions. This is another concept that will take some amount of time and thought to digest. In my own journey, I found this truth to be difficult to comprehend. But once I started paying attention to my emotions in this different light, it became increasingly clear how profound and accurate its advice and wisdom was in regard to my personal journey. When the truth and purpose of your emotions is understood, it takes away the only avenue you have to judge the merits of your creating tools of thoughts, words, and actions. The simple truth of this emotional communication is this: whenever any emotion arises within you, it's your spirit advising you that what you are creating is either good for you, bad for you, or has no impact on you. That's it. Good, bad, or no impact. Period. Now, mankind and the dysfunctional ego has divided this divine spiritual advice into hundreds of categories and subcategories, which only serve to bury the truth of this communication even deeper than it's already buried. This makes it nearly impossible to understand the origin and the truth of this divine advice. Instead of recognizing a bad feeling as spiritual advice and changing the content of your thoughts, you amplify it with the law of attraction to create more bad. As you use these tools of creation, your thoughts and words and actions, your spirit will look at what you are creating and let you know if what you're creating is good for you, bad for you, or has no impact on you. A good emotion, such as happiness, joy, understanding, compassion, or love, tells you that what you are creating is good for you. A bad emotion, such as anger, frustration, hate, jealousy, and so on, is advice that what you are creating in this moment is bad for you. If what you are creating has no impact on you, you'll feel no emotion at all. This spiritual advice is simple, to the point, and impeccably accurate. Remember, you're a unique being, and your spirit is part of that uniqueness, and from its vantage point of connectedness, it knows all and sees all. You create, it offers advice. From its vantage point of perfection, it guides you as you apply your ability to create. Listen to your inner voice, and you will create in a fashion that will change your life and lead you towards your perfection. If you misunderstand this communication from your inner voice, you will continue to perpetuate the falsehoods that you were taught since birth. Your emotions are the voice of your spirit. You do not believe this because you were taught differently, and so you live a separated life of aloneness and search outside yourself for answers that can only be found within you. The solution is to change your beliefs. The simple fact is that every single time you feel emotional about anything, it's your spirit speaking up to help guide you towards your true nature. It will never tell you what to do, for this would deny the physical aspect of you, your freedom. It only offers advice, good, bad, or no opinion. You will either choose to listen to this advice or ignore and misinterpret this advice. And whichever direction you choose will be the direction you create in. It will never be silent. If you were to become angry about something, you would get a bad feeling, and you would apply the bad feeling to the situation. You would deal with the situation that caused the anger. The bad feeling is simply advice that means stop thinking this way. It's never about the situation. It's always about the relationship between what you're currently creating and what's in your best interest. Always. You think the bad feeling is justification for something else, and so your mind and its dysfunctional ego turn this simple signal of inappropriate creating into an escalating compilation of negativity. You perpetuate something negative out of the very advice that can set you free. The law of attraction will deliver more negative things, just as you requested. And of course, your response, if negative, will elicit more negative emotion, indicating you're still not getting the point. And you will continue this escalating misunderstanding without having a clue as to what is happening and why. The law of attraction will always accept the intent of your energetic message, either positive or negative, and then return it to you. Your spirit will provide you with feedback in regard to what you're creating, and if you don't know the rules, you can see how you could end up escalating everything out of control. Right now, most of us react to an emotion. What you must learn is that the emotion never has anything to do with the situation you're emotional about. Ever. The emotion is always a communication of appropriateness, bad or good or never mind. Always. Your emotions are never about the situation. Ever. They are only indicators of whether what you're creating with your thoughts or words or actions are good for you or bad for you. As long as you continue any negative thought, your spirit will continue to give you bad feelings. As long as you are getting a good feeling, you know with certainty that what you're creating is good for you. Anyone who has experienced negative feelings will know how difficult it is to break that cycle, but it must be broken. The easiest way to break it is to learn to trust your feelings and without hesitation change your thoughts to a more positive direction before you attract so many negative circumstances that you become buried in them. Each time you pay attention to your spiritual advice, it will give you confidence in your ability to take control of your mind and your ego. The ego's intended function is to help the human mind develop a sense of self. Unfortunately, most of us were raised in ignorance of our perfection, and so when the ego arrives on the child's scene to start its work, it finds itself in a war zone. It immediately uses all its abilities in proportion to the dysfunction of the being it resides within. It's hopelessly caught up in the dysfunctional world you have learned to perpetuate. It's trying to help the best it can amongst the untruths it's forced to operate under. It becomes the God you were separated from because your God is gone. It becomes the defender you need since you are alone and separated. When you become lazy about making your own decisions and utilizing your tools of creation, it becomes the decider, which triggers the laws of attraction and allowing. After a while, you'll see no difference between you and your dysfunctional ego. It transparently takes charge of your life because you won't or don't. Because you have allowed your ego to assume control of your life, eventually you'll see no difference between you and your dysfunctional ego. This concludes part 4.